The judge, the police, and a shocking arrest. Judge Marcus Holloway, a respected Philadelphia judge, finds himself in a position he never imagined, face down on the concrete, in handcuffs, at a gas station in a predominantly white suburb. Just yesterday, he was a pillar of the legal system, but tonight he's just another black man in a hoodie. After spending the day at the hospital with his mother, who was recovering from heart surgery, Marcus stops for gas. Officers Thomas Brennan and Kyle Reynolds, two white men with a reputation for aggressive policing, spot him. Citing a vague description of a robbery suspect, black male, medium build, hood up, they pull their patrol car behind Marcus's BMW, blocking him in. Marcus, a man who has presided over countless cases of police misconduct, knows his rights. He calmly explains he's just getting gas on his way home from the hospital. The officers dismiss his explanation and demand his ID. When he asserts his rights and asks for their reason, Officer Brennan becomes aggressive, grabbing his arm and slamming him against his car. Despite Marcus's clear statement that he is a judge and his ID is in his wallet, Brennan and Reynolds handcuff him, accusing him of resisting. A young woman at a nearby pump and the gas station manager, Mr. Patel, try to intervene, verifying Marcus's identity. But the officers ignore him and force Marcus into the back of the patrol car. As they drive away, Marcus watches his dignity and constitutional rights disappear in the rearview mirror, a bitter taste of the injustice he'd only ever seen from the other side of the bench. The officers, oblivious to their mistake, joke about arresting another important person. Unbeknownst to them, their actions will soon go viral and land them in a very uncomfortable place: Judge Holloway's courtroom. After a night of humiliation, Marcus Holloway returns to his Chestnut Hill home. His children, Jamal and Zora, and his wife, Vanessa, an attorney, have already seen the viral video of his arrest. They are angry and worried. Jamal recites the rules his father taught him on how to behave during a police stop, rules Marcus followed but which didn't matter. Marcus realizes the officers didn't see a judge, they just saw a black man. After Vanessa's immediate plan to file a civil rights lawsuit, Marcus has a different idea. He calls his superior, Chief Justice Richard Harriman, and insists on keeping his court schedule for the next day, especially the police misconduct hearing on his docket. He's learned that the scheduled judge has called in sick. Marcus is next in the rotation to take the case, which involves officers from the same precinct that arrested him. He researches judicial ethics, preparing for the inevitable challenge to his impartiality. He knows the police union will demand his recusal, but he believes his unique perspective gives him a different kind of insight. This isn't just about his case. It's about holding the entire system accountable. As he goes to bed, Marcus examines the bruises on his arm, a physical reminder of his vulnerability and a motivation to use his position to ensure what happened to him doesn't happen to others. He is ready to confront systemic racism, not from the street, but from the bench. The next morning, Officers Brennan and Reynolds arrive at the Philadelphia County Courthouse for a routine hearing on a police misconduct complaint. They're confident the case will be dismissed, as always. But their confidence shatters when they enter courtroom 4B and see Judge Marcus Holloway seated on the bench. Brennan and Reynolds had no idea he was a judge, let alone the one presiding over their case. The case involves Antoine Johnson, a young black man who alleges he was racially profiled and subjected to excessive force during a traffic stop. Marcus reviews the file and finds a familiar pattern: a vague reason for the stop, and a history of complaints against the officers that were all dismissed. Before the hearing begins, the police union's attorney, Maxwell Gordon, immediately moves for Marcus's recusal, citing a clear conflict of interest. Marcus denies the motion, explaining that his personal experience provides relevant insight into departmental practices. He states that a judge's impartiality is about being unbiased, not ignorant, and that his knowledge of the real-world consequences of aggressive policing is not a disqualification, but a crucial piece of context. The hearing proceeds, setting the stage for a dramatic showdown. As the hearing unfolds, Marcus meticulously uncovers the truth of Antoine Johnson's case. Johnson testifies, describing how he was pulled over for a supposed broken taillight and then arrested after questioning the officer's actions. Witness testimony from the hearing, including a cell phone video, contradicts the officer's report. The video shows Johnson being compliant and calm, directly refuting the officer's claims that he was belligerent and uncooperative. The most damning evidence comes from Mr. Patel, the gas station manager who saw Marcus's arrest. Patel testifies that he has a security camera recording of Officers Brennan and Reynolds from the night of Antoine's arrest. The footage, played for the court, reveals the officers discussing their need for a few more stops to meet their quota. They openly talk about targeting the south side of town, a predominantly Black and Latino area. This is a crucial revelation. Their actions weren't a one-time occurrence, but a pattern of discriminatory policing. The evidence against them is unraveling, but the implications are widening. The testimony points not just to two bad apples, but to a systemic problem of quotas and aggressive policing enabled by the department. As the evidence against them mounts, the officer's defense begins to crumble. The district attorney's office, caught by surprise by the revelations, requests time to reevaluate its position. The police union attorney, seeing his case collapse, attempts to shift the blame to department-wide policies, a tactic that unexpectedly backfires. A new witness, Officer Daryl Jackson, a young Black officer who recognized Marcus at the police station, takes the stand. He testifies to the department's unofficial culture, a reward system that incentivizes aggressive policing in minority neighborhoods. He reveals that senior officers instruct rookies on coded language to use in reports, phrases like furtive movements and matches the description, that provide a legal justification for stops based on racial profiling. Jackson's testimony confirms that the officers who stopped Marcus and Antoine Johnson were simply doing what they were trained to do. During a recess, Officer Reynolds, clearly affected by the damning testimony, requests a private conference in chambers. In a stunning confession, he admits that they had no real reason to stop Marcus, other than the fact that he was a Black man in a white neighborhood. He confesses that the department's culture rewards officers for being proactive with certain people, and that he and Brennan had fabricated details in their report. Back in the courtroom, Officer Brennan, in a moment of fury, unleashes a tirade that exposes his own deep-seated prejudice, confirming the racism underlying his actions. The defense has now completely collapsed. The hearing transforms from a specific complaint into a trial of the entire police system. Marcus expands the scope, allowing testimony from additional officers under whistleblower protection. Their sealed testimony corroborates everything Officer Reynolds and Jackson have said, revealing a deeply entrenched culture of discriminatory policing. Police Commissioner Frank Hargrove is forced to testify, struggling to defend his department's policies in the face of statistical evidence of racial bias. Marcus rules that the court must examine these systemic issues, not just the actions of a few individuals. The case has become a major news story. To ensure total transparency, Marcus arranges for Chief Justice Diane Chen to temporarily preside while he takes the witness stand himself. He removes his robe and testifies, recounting not just the physical assault, but the emotional and psychological toll of being instantly reduced from a judge to a suspect because of his race. Brennan's attorney, now on the defensive, can only ask procedural questions. Before Marcus delivers his final ruling, Officer Brennan, in a surprising turn, addresses the court. He admits he didn't see a judge, but a threat, because that's how he was trained to see. His statement is a critical moment, acknowledging the role of the system in his behavior. With this final piece of testimony, Marcus is ready to issue a groundbreaking ruling that will not only hold the officers accountable, but also force a complete overhaul of the department's practices. After a brief recess, Marcus returns to the bench to deliver his ruling. He begins by finding Officers Brennan and Reynolds guilty of violating Antoine Johnson's constitutional rights, the racial profiling, and excessive force. He declares that their actions were not isolated incidents, but a reflection of systemic problems within the department. His ruling includes 3 key orders. Individual accountability. Brennan and Reynolds are suspended for 6 months without pay and must undergo extensive retraining on constitutional policing and implicit bias.
Systemic reform. The Abington Township Police Department must implement comprehensive reforms, including mandatory body cameras with civilian oversight, new performance metrics that prioritize constitutional compliance over arrest numbers, and implicit bias training for all officers. Community oversight. A civilian oversight committee with genuine authority to review complaints and recommend disciplinary action is established, including representatives from the communities most affected by aggressive policing. Marcus concludes by ordering a review of all arrests made by the department in the past 3 years that were based on vague criteria. His gavel strike marks the end of the hearing, but the beginning of a much larger journey towards reform. Antoine Johnson is vindicated. The officers face the consequences of their actions, and Marcus's personal experience of injustice has become a catalyst for real systemic change. 6